I wouldn't be taken in by statements like I left the USA and I'm never going back. It sounds idyllic and romantic, but you know, it's a lot smarter to just remain flexible and remain willing to partake of any options that are open to you that make the most sense.
You mean don't renounce your citizenship?
I think that people, I mean, I don't want to sound judgmental, but I think that a lot of people will regret it.
Hello and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. Thanks for being here today. Let's get right into this information, okay?
Yeah, we left America and we're never coming back, and it's so romantic sounding, sort of. Is that the right word? It evokes that dreamy-eyed state of, wow, these people must be enjoying themselves so much that they just can't fathom ever needing or wanting to go back to the land of their birth. And who wouldn't want to be in that state? It's sort of like a drug, isn't it? Who doesn't want to be in a dreamy, feel-good state of being in such a paradisical... Wait a minute. You know that sound of a record, a vinyl record being scratched backwards? You just got to look at the scenery here and say, yeah, but isn't that what you're doing? The thing is that I've never been a delayed gratification person, so it's getting to the point where people, you make these videos and these titles where it just gets people's attention, and it works. It feeds your desire, and we all have a desire to be happy. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I'm not getting ready to tell you that it's not true, or there isn't any truth in it, or don't believe it or anything like that. I'm not going to do that, because I'm not a delayed gratification person. It's just that our history is that we've always lived in such a way that we don't need to vacate from it. We don't need to take a vacation from it. You know, we're living the vacation on an ongoing basis, an ongoing vacation. And when you live an ongoing vacation, and I just want to say, talking about the subject of leaving and never coming back, it's always, you see it, it's always a lot of these younger people. Because if a person that's like 70 years old says, well, I just left and I'm never coming back, well, maybe in 3 years he'll be dead. The average age of death has been inching up a little, they say. I don't remember if it's in the 70s or right over or 80, but I think it's in the 70s for USA. It depends on who you're talking about. But when a young person says it, a younger person, say in their 30s, the thing that I've seen is a lot of people that say this, of course, are U.S. citizens. And U.S. citizens, no matter how they're feeling at the moment or what they say today or tomorrow or next year, they always have the option of being able to go back. So they can change your mind at any time. So they're really, to me, they're not really valuable, but I mean, it makes good little video fodder. And, you know, we encourage people instead to live the life they've always dreamed of, a life they don't need to vacate from on an ongoing basis. And this doesn't mean that you aren't doing any work. It means that you have a sort of working vacation or semi-working vacation, but it's not just that, it's also that your life is balanced. In other words, it isn't a vacation. People go overboard because they have a sort of pressure valve that they're releasing because of all of that delayed life plan. In other words, you've had an imbalanced life for so long that when you get on vacation, all of a sudden it has to be every minute of the day. It has to be perfect, and you have to be completely enjoying yourself to the point where people get very disappointed if there's a little cloud in the sky. And you see this from people that have done the retirement, that are right now retiring. We are told that I don't remember how many thousands of people are retiring. We're going through a retirement boom, and a lot of people are retiring every single year. And you look at For example, places like Ecuador. When we were in Ecuador, we had a nice 3-bedroom, a nice older 3-bedroom. We could have walked to the beach if we wanted to. The buses were plentiful at 25 cents or whatever it was, 30 cents. And so right there to the beach, right? So our rent was $300. But now you look at it and I'm seeing people, you know, paying American prices. I mean, you know, $1,200, $1,500 now just to go to little tiny little podunk little places. Yeah, sure, they're on the beach, but you know, that's really what they are. They're just little tiny little podunk places. And it's the same attitude of I left America and I'm never going back, you know. Why? Because I'm just so happy and everything is so wonderful, and it is, and it should be. But I'm just saying that the attitudes are different when people have been delaying their life and all of a sudden the pressure valve is released, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, you've been sitting in an un-air conditioned house with 100-degree weather, and all of a sudden, and you've been locked in the house, and all of a sudden the lock comes off and you get to go jump in the pool. You know, it's like a relief. And we've seen people that didn't, you know, never talked about going back and that were going to retire in Ecuador or any place, whether it's Ecuador, Panama, Mexico. Friends of ours that have left as soon as 2020 hit, it was decided that, well, you know what, things are changing so much and we hadn't, you know, planned on being in this kind of scenario, and in order, you know, people run to safety, in other words. So to me, it's not really believable in the first place, especially younger people. They've got so much life ahead of them, you know, that, you know, when somebody's 30 years old and they say never, you know, you say never at 30, that's, but it sounds good. And there have been so many changes with living abroad just in the last couple of years that affect everyone. No matter how people see things and on what side they line up, things are changing for everyone. For example, just in the last 12 months, I've seen rents, not just here where we're at, but all over in a lot of the other places where the foreigners like to go, the Americans, the Europeans. I've seen rents double and triple within the last 12 months because of all of the people that still want to do the go abroad thing. A lot of the pressure, the travel pressure, is causing a bottleneck to some of these places like Mexico. But I'm predicting a lot of these people, just as we have been predicting, is that, you know, the majority of these people go back. And now you're starting to see a little bit of a trickle of people saying, you know, I'm going back, I'm leaving, you know, does anybody want my Mexican pesos? I'm going back to Europe. You know, I'm leaving the Ecuadorian coast. The rents are ridiculous. You know, if you have to pay $1,500 in rent and be there, just to be there, well, gosh, I've made videos where for that kind of money you could find lots of places to stay in a lot of places. And that has been my contention all along, is that once the prices balloon to certain levels, there's really no pull to be in any particular place. If the places all cost the same, then you can be anywhere. Why spend all that money getting on a plane or going through all that trouble to put up with, you know, maybe requirements or, you know, or immigration, or, you know, you can go to places that make it easy, or you can just have so many more options available that it just doesn't make not only financial sense, but it doesn't make sense at all. And so going home doesn't have the same curb appeal as I left America and I'm never coming back. You see what I'm saying? But usually within just a handful of years, people are going back home. And Americans always have, you know, have that option. A U.S. citizen and a European, people always have the option to go back to the land of their birth. And so it's really a kind of a meaningless statement. And people really shouldn't be falling for this kind of attitude to begin with. You know, we encourage people to set their lives up to where they're living an ongoing, I don't want to say an ongoing vacation, because every minute of your day isn't like the vacation, but it's something you don't need to be vacating from. You're already setting up your life in such a way that you have the most enjoyment out of life, whether that be that you like the mountains. Some people prefer mountains, other people prefer the coast, you know, whatever that thing is. You know, some people just like being out in the country and having peaceful serenity in nature, and just whatever your thing is that you enjoy. Some people like being around people and others don't. They want to be a hermit. Whatever the case may be for you, you know. So if there's one thing that we've learned about being abroad, being overseas for almost 12 years, is to always remain flexible, because things are always changing. That's one thing that you can always rely on, and that things change and things are always changing. And so remaining flexible, I wouldn't be taken in by statements like I left the USA and I'm never going back. It sounds idyllic and romantic, but you know, it's a lot smarter to just remain flexible and remain willing to partake of any options that are open to you that make the most sense.
You mean don't renounce your citizenship?
I think that people, I mean, I don't want to sound judgmental, but I think that a lot of people will regret it, and they won't admit it or say anything, because you know. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a very small percentage that actually does want to stay abroad. I mean, I'm not saying everybody goes home, but the majority do. I mean, 98%, 98, 99% of them go home, but that does leave 1 or 2 or 3%, whatever the figure is, that remain abroad. And for them, you know, perhaps it makes sense to renounce their citizenship, but it's such a small percentage, and even though the number is increasing, it's still a very, very tiny percentage. There are millions of people that go abroad and travel to different countries now, more than ever, thanks to the internet. But as always, do what you've got to do, whatever your situation is. I'm not telling you what to do, whatever makes the most sense for you. I would just be very careful and doubtful of buying into this kind of frenzy that we're seeing on the internet nowadays with these kind of attitudes. So I hope you got something out of that. Thanks for coming to the video. Have a wonderful day.